Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Read and Write with Natasha. I have with me today an SEO expert since 2007. His name is Brandon Leibowitz, and he is the author of the book that was published last week. It's called The Power of Guest Podcasting. And Brandon helps brands boost traffic and build authority. Brandon, so nice to meet you. Actually, we met and spent a good time together last week at Podfest in Florida. So I'm glad to continue the conversation. So, Brandon, I'm really interested in your book, Guest Podcasting. And why do you think? I think the book is written for everyone who wants to boost their brand, but I want to focus on authors. Why do you, since this is like a podcast for authors and you're an author yourself, why do you think authors should go on guest podcasts as opposed to having their own podcasts?
Well, having their own podcast is great. And I think you should also have your own podcast if you want to. I'm not opposed to it, but I just
Okay.
found more value being a guest on other people's podcasts because you tap into their audience. And for SEO, one big thing is the more third party sites that Google sees you on, the more trust Google's going to give to you and the higher they rank your website. So you could build some authority and build some trust if you are selling a book, if you have it on your own website and you want it to start ranking higher, or if it's on Amazon or wherever you list it, if you want to boost it up and get it to rank higher, the more websites that these platforms see you on, the more trust they're going to give to you. But if you're launching a book, just like I did, then you want to be on other people's podcasts to announce it to the world and get some more visibility. Because if you just announce it on social media and to your email list, that's great. But that only goes so far. And if you want to expand to new audiences and hopefully have new people find it, read it, and that's going to be a great way to tap into the guest podcasting side of things.
So why podcasting for SEO? Why, I can, what if I like want to publish in newspapers or like magazines or others people YouTube videos? Why did you actually dedicate a whole book about guest podcasting of all other platforms?
Most people don't really talk about guest podcasting that much. So I thought I've been on 300 shows since, or in the past like 5 years as a guest. And I thought most people aren't really talking about guest podcasting as much. They are all, a lot of people talk about podcasting, start your own podcast, but they don't look at the guest podcasting side. And that one just helps you really grow your brand, build that trust up by utilizing other people's audiences. Because if I'm on someone else's show, then the listeners or the viewers of that show are instantly going to trust me. I still have to show that I am a subject matter expert, but it's kind of like you're vouching for me saying, Natasha trusts Brandon. So the audience will naturally start to trust me. Of course, if I don't speak properly or say some weird things, that trust just disappears instantly. But as long as you provide a good message and a good story, then people are going to want to then learn more about who Brandon is. But the biggest part with the SEO benefits are these what are called backlinks, getting other websites to link out to you. So I did the guest podcasting myself before I wrote the book because it helps my website rank higher on the search engines. So SEO is all about trying to rank you higher organically and get you more visibility. And the way the search engines work is keywords are important, but keywords don't rank you because these platforms, even like Amazon, you can put keywords all over your website. They're going to say, great, but we want to see trust signals from third parties, sites, reviews. We want to see people buying your book. But for search engines, they want to see these backlinks, these other websites mentioning my name, my company name. And it's kind of like a vote of confidence. If your website lists me on, if you list me on your website, it's like you're voting for me and Google sees that as a trust signal. And little by little, they're going to start to move me up the rankings and bring me more traffic. Plus, I'm going to get visibility and traffic from your audience. And so there's lots of multiple benefits. Also, social media content that I can repurpose to clip it and share it with my audience and just you get that kind of never ending supply of content. I could repurpose that into a blog post for my own website. I could use that to email my newsletter, my subscribers as well, saying, hey, check it out. I was just on Natasha's podcast and this is what we talked about. And then it's kind of mutually beneficial where I'm helping you out, you're helping me out, and we're both growing our audiences.
But many like podcasts don't have a website and they only have like a YouTube channel, or they post their like show notes on Spotify. And how would that have any effect on the SEO, or do they have to have the website to actually reap the benefits of guest podcasting?
The most benefit comes from another third party website because Google sees YouTube and social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all these platforms as easy backlinks, and they don't really count for SEO. But with ChatGPT and the LLMs, they are actually looking at that. So for
Yeah.
ranking on the LLMs and the AI tool platforms, they look at social media a lot more than search engines do. Search engines don't really look at it too much. They're starting to a little bit more, but it doesn't have the same impact as a website where you actually post it on someone else's website. So it's kind of like twofold now, where now we got to make Google and search engines happy, and we also have to look at the LLMs, the ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity and all these other platforms. So it does have more of an impact than it first did. Like when I first started doing the guest podcasting in 2020, I was like, if you don't have a website, it's not going to help me out too much. Now I'm like, all right, if you don't have a website, it's not the worst case. I still would prefer it because I want to rank higher on Google as well, but it's not as bad as, or it's not going to have that. It has some added value.
Interesting, because I noticed more people are using AI search rather than the Google search. And for example, last month I signed with a client who found me on ChatGPT. So, and kind of this, when she told me this, it kind of messed with my head a bit, because like, wait a minute, I have to now make sure that I rank high on ChatGPT. And so, do you think now, how is that affecting the SEO game now? It's completely gonna change, especially with more people preferring to use AI to search, and they're actually trusting AI, I feel, more than the search engine. So how is that kind of messed up with your SEO knowledge?
That one is definitely making a big curveball because I've been doing SEO since 2007, and from 2007 to like 2022, pretty much
Too,
it was
yeah,
Google. Like there's no
yeah.
Bing and Yahoo existed, DuckDuckGo, but no one really went on those. But once ChatGPT came out in 2021, it's taken a while, but now people have adopted it much, much more. And it's so much easier. You don't have to sort through all these websites. It just gives you the answer right there. So it's good and bad because it's taking traffic away from websites. It's just taking all your information and just giving it to people. And hopefully they then want to learn more about you and search and find your name and search you on Google to find your website. But ChatGPT kind of locks you in there and doesn't give too many links. I mean, they're changing it up all the time, but we're gonna have to see. It's definitely changed how people search. The SEO strategy, though, hasn't changed too much because it's very similar. ChatGPT is heavily funded by Microsoft, which is Bing. And once Bing put out ChatGPT, they had ChatGPT and Bing in 2021. Google's like, wait, hold on. If AI is already in Bing, we got to release our version, which they
Gemini,
released
yeah.
Bard, and then they changed it to Gemini because nobody was using this Bard thing. And now Gemini is pretty much what they're looking for is very similar strategies, like keywords, like all the content. It's just changed how people search a little bit with like more questions and answers. But that's been around since mobile came out. People are always doing that voice search in Siri and Alexa, but now even more so, making sure those questions and answers are in there because I use it all the time, and it just makes it so much quicker to find your answer to whatever topic you're looking for.
So I noticed now, I mean, I think this started maybe 2 years ago, is if I go to Google and I search, the first results are the Gemini results, right, on the top, and it has like the AI thingy, and then you go to the regular kind of results. And is that the norm now? Like, how is that? Because, and I stopped even looking at the links. I just go to the first results of Gemini, which is kind of genius, right? They managed how to integrate it. How is that affecting things now, where like the AI results appears first?
Yep, they started doing those AI overviews. So Google has a
Correct.
lot. They have AI overviews, they have AI mode, and then they have Gemini. They have a lot of
Correct.
different AIs.
Correct.
AI overviews always at the top, but it's kind of like what they did in 2013. They started putting this featured snippet at the top, where if you search for like a celebrity's birthday, they would give you that answer right there. The AI
Correct.
overview
Yeah.
now is just much more expanded and you could engage with it. That's the biggest thing is now you can start responding back and talking to it. And that's definitely changed a lot where now it's even more so important to be in those AI overviews, also trying to get in AI mode and then also getting in Gemini if people are using Gemini. And it just made things a lot more confusing. I feel like they're going to consolidate it because there's so many right now that Google has that it just gets a little overwhelming for someone like me to start doing SEO. I'm like, all right, now I got to do SEO on Google, AI overviews, Gemini, AI mode, and that's just on Google. And then there's ChatGPT and Perplexity, but people want to get those answers right away. They don't want to browse around and click on those links anymore, and they just want that instant gratification. Because do you really want to go through a whole Reddit forum thread of hundreds of posts, or let the AI read it, summarize it, give it back to you what it thinks this page is, or that is about? It's just a big shift in everything.
So how can we rank higher in AI or ChatGPT or LLMs? What shall we do now? Let's say, as if you want to improve our brand, if we're authors, what shall I do to make sure ChatGPT mentions me? If somebody looks for like a ghostwriter or a book coach, podcaster, like a book podcaster, I want my name to be on the top. What shall I do?
You need to get yourself published on other people's websites because they're looking for, same thing with Google. Google says, all right, you put keywords on your website, but we don't believe those keywords. We want to see that other people are talking about you to vouch for you, to build that trust up. And the best way to do that is by getting published on other third-party sites, whether that's writing articles or getting interviews on other people's websites or doing the guest podcasting, but any way to get your name out on other people's websites, doing press releases, attending trade shows. Like I was just at Podfest as a speaker. I always try to make sure that they mention me on their website because then the search engines and the LLMs will see that I'm on another website. And those little trust signals over time build up to getting them to want to trust you more and rank you higher. It is great to have your own website. I always recommend to everybody, have your own website, because like when you're publishing a book on Amazon, you're renting space off these platforms or Goodreads. You don't really own it. Versus your website, you get full control. Then you can start adding more content on your website, adding more blog posts that support all that, which the LLMs will read all those blog posts, but they're not going to rank you without the third party sites, those trust signals.
So how are people finding you now? When you ask them, like if they hire your company or if they buy, when you ask them, they say where, like where do they find you?
So surprisingly, Google still just dominates. When I look at
Okay.
my own website traffic and my clients' websites, Google just really brings in the majority of the traffic still, but it's shifting. But Google really does bring in so much traffic. When I look at tools like Google Analytics, you could track where your traffic's coming from and you can see like how people are finding you. And you can see that Google just brings in probably like, I mean, it's dropped down a little bit, but it still brings in probably about 20 to 50% of your traffic. ChatGPT doesn't bring too much traffic, but people find you that way. They just don't go to your website. So it's a little bit tougher to track the AI, and everyone's trying to figure that out right now because that's that ambiguity part is like, what are people searching on AI to find me? With Google, they'll show you some of your keywords using tools like Google Search Console, which is another free tool from Google that's for SEO purposes. That will show you like what keywords you rank for, what position you're in. But there's nothing like that for AI yet. And hopefully they'll put something out. That way you can start seeing like, what are people searching? What words are triggering me to show up in those AI overviews and the AI search results? There are some tools, but they're not really perfected yet. But when I do look at analytics, Google still runs the show, but we'll have to see what happens because it just keeps changing so quickly nowadays that it can flip that switch pretty fast. And all of a sudden, Google just could be gone, which I don't think will happen because they have Gemini, but who knows what's going to happen. It's so dynamic right now. There is no constant. It's just constantly evolving.
It's the wild, wild west. So how do you keep up with the news, with the SEO news in your industry? Like as you said, there's a lot changing, and our brains can take so much information at a day. So what is your go-to source for all SEO news related and AI, and how is that affecting?
I like to go to forums, but forum, like, so I'd go to like digital marketing forums, but nowadays Facebook groups are really great and really engaging. And those are great
Mm.
places to ask questions, get feedback, and see what other people are doing. There's tons of good Facebook groups and
On SEO or
yep, on it.
yeah, everyone keeps telling me Facebook groups, and for everything there's a face like private face group, and so you have one people who say, "Oh, Facebook is dead. It's for the old people. Or it's for the boomers." Blah blah blah. And then whenever we have a discussion, people always go back to Facebook groups. Do you think Facebook groups are the thing that are actually saving Facebook from becoming like a boomer place, or how do you view that in terms of where we're headed?
Yep, Facebook groups are helping Facebook stay alive and stay strong because Facebook has Instagram. Everyone is on Instagram nowadays or TikTok.
Correct.
But not many
WhatsApp.
people are using Facebook, but Facebook, those groups make me keep my account. And like I have some friends that don't use Facebook, but I'm like, you're missing out on these groups because there's so much knowledge that's being poured out there in these groups. But other than that, there's not much value in Facebook anymore. It's kind of like a pay to play platform. After they went public, they had to make money and they just dropped reach. Where in the past, if you have like 100 people that like your Facebook page, all 100 people would see that post when you post. But nowadays, I think it's like 5% of your audience will ever see your post without you having to click that little blue button to boost it up. So Facebook's more of like a pay to play system or platform, but
Hmm.
the groups are the only one that seem to get the most engagement. So I started my own group as well. And that's a good thing for people to do is create a group around a topic that you're interested in. And then you can start building an audience around that and growing that. And that's a great way.
Interesting.
Takes time. It's not the quickest thing to build up, but it's another platform that you could utilize to help get your message out there to people and share knowledge with others.
And but these Facebook groups are private, so they do not like rank on the SEO game as right. So, but for you, they're private spaces, they're private communities, correct? Um,
Yeah.
And so, if they're private, how do you attract people to it? Like, how do people find you if you have a private Facebook group? Like, if I want to create now a Facebook group called Read and Write with Natasha, what do I put it like in my marketing email, or like how are you growing your Facebook group as opposed to like turning it into a paid community like Circle or others?
Yeah, the growth part is a little tricky with the private group because I thought about starting my group private and I was like, maybe I should make it public. But once you make it private, you can't change it to public. You're like locked in there. So I'm like, all
Uh,
right, it's stuck at private, which is fine. A lot of these Facebook groups are private and I just market it to anybody that signs up. I have a bunch of lead magnets. I teach classes for free on my website. So if they sign up for a class or one of my lead magnets, they get sent into my email list. And I think it's like my third email after I say like, thanks for signing up for the class. Here's your class. Here's the video. Here's whatever they signed up for. Then I have another email that's more value driven, giving them more value. And then I think my third or fourth one, it says, by the way, if you want to join this Facebook group, I made a private Facebook group where we could discuss SEO topics and AI topics and doing that. I mean,
mm.
it's taken me a while, but I think it's grown to maybe 2,500, almost
Oh
3,000 people.
wow,
But it's slow
that's a
growth
lot.
because a lot of
That's a
people,
lot.
yep. But it took a while because a lot of people respond back to my email saying, I don't have Facebook. And I'm just like, all right, well, then I don't know what to do. But there's school communities that I've been
Yeah.
looking into. And I have my own meetup that I've done over the years that also has a big audience. But the Facebook group is just so active compared to a lot of these other platforms that it keeps me on Facebook.
So you would not go with like a paid community like Circle or School. You would keep it open just so that for promotional purpose, so that you can give value, and in return they might hire you for your services.
Nowadays, I might say maybe make a school. You could do like a free school community if you wanted to do that because I made my Facebook group, I think in like 2020 or 2019 when there wasn't many other options, but school is a really good one because I have my own meetup group as well where I teach classes online and in person. And meetup is great, but it kind of doesn't give you that full control. And everyone's been telling me I should take all that meetup audience. It's like 7,000 people I built up and move them over to school. And I've just been so busy with the book the past couple months or years, been working on that book that I just haven't had time. But that is what I'm going to do now in 2026 is build my school out and do a free one and a paid community, because a free one to
Mm.
get people interested, to show that I am a subject matter expert, to build that trust, and then move them up the different levels of school communities.
Interesting. For me, is what I worry is people are already on Facebook and asking them to create another sign up, and it's like, oh, and many, and so I think that's it adds another level of friction. So Facebook is kind of like the easiest way, especially for people with like older generation. Who actually have the money to pay. You don't want like the Gen Zs who would not eventually help your business, if that's the ultimate goal. Okay, I want to switch gear now, and I want to talk about go back to podcasting. Do you have your own podcast?
Had my own podcast, started my own podcast in 2020 about SEO and digital marketing, and did that for about 6 months, and then got asked to be a guest on someone else's podcast. And then my SEO side of things started to realize guest podcasting is going to help build me these backlinks and get me to rank higher on the search engines. So I just kind of shifted gears and went all in on the guest podcasting side. And now I still have my podcast, but I'm just taking my guest podcast interviews and putting them on my own podcast. So it's not really a
Um,
podcast, but it kind of is. It's just my interviews. So I'm just keeping it active and updated with fresh content, but I'm not
and how
recording.
and how do you do that? Do you ask the host for the raw file and then you upload it yourself, or how do you put that on your podcast?
Yep, if the host gives me, sometimes they don't want me to do that. So I respect if they don't want me to do it, but a lot of times they'll give me the video and the audio. And I'm like, all right, maybe I should just throw it up on my own platform. That way they could start tapping into my audience, just like I'm tapping into their audience. Let me help reciprocate the favor and build that up.
I see. Okay, so you mentioned you got on 300 podcasts. That's in the span of what, a year, or the span of what? Like, how did you manage to be on 300 podcasts? What was the time frame for that?
From 2020 to now, mainly I went all in like 2021, 2022. I'm in Los Angeles. And during that time, we were pretty much locked down. You couldn't go out to eat anywhere. You were just stuck at home. And I had all this extra time because normally I'd be like hanging out with friends or family or traveling or just doing activities. During that time, I had a lot more free time and was literally sometimes doing 2 or 3 podcasts a day. I went a little too deep. My friends were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing so many podcasts? I was like, getting all these backlinks. My traffic is growing, but they're like, how do you even have time? Like I would just, like you said earlier today, you sometimes stack interviews
Batch
together.
them,
And
yeah.
I did the
Yeah.
same thing where I would sometimes go back to back to back. And I think the most I did one day was like maybe 5 or 6. It was a lot. Nowadays, nowadays things are back to normal. So I'm doing maybe like one every week, one every 2 weeks, not as frequently as I did at the past. But now that I did launch my book, I need to start being more proactive and reaching out again and starting to just spread the word about my book, because it's a perfect place to let people know about my
Correct.
book. Is
Correct.
being on
Yeah.
podcast, you guess it's just the perfect opportunity.
So how do you find these podcasts, and how do you choose them based on what? So first, how do you find these? Like, because I always get emails from people who like don't know anything that I have a podcast. Like they scam me. They say, "Do you want to appear on 100 podcasts? We can help you appear on." Like these are people who like companies that uh, claim that they can put you on all these podcasts and they can book you. These PR people who like people hire them just to put them on podcasts. So how did you manage to get on 300 podcasts?
There's a few different ways I go about it. Well, I was doing SEO, and the way I build backlinks for my clients is by blogging on other people's websites.
Okay.
So I've always been finding websites and pitching websites and doing cold outreach and trying to build relationships with websites, with bloggers, with editorial sites. And then I just realized, all right, instead of searching for blogs, let me go and search for podcasts. So I would go into the way I'd find blogs is by going into Google, and I would just type into Google like SEO blogs or digital marketing blogs or keywords related to what I was doing. Now I just change it to podcasts about digital marketing, SEO podcasts, AI podcasts, and I would search in Google using advanced search operators, which sounds a lot more technical than it really is. But basically, I'm just putting into the search, I'm putting in there in URL, and then I put a colon, and then in quotation marks, I'd put the word podcast. After that, you could put whatever keyword you want. And that searches in the URL of a website for the word podcast and then whatever keywords. And that would trigger sites that if I see these sites already ranking on Google or these podcasts are ranking on Google, I already know that Google trusts that podcast and that SEO trust is going to be passed on to me if I'm a guest on them. So that's one way that I like to find good quality ones. There's also podcast directories and sites like Podmatch, which is really great and helpful, or Listen Notes. And there's so many other sites like that that will help you match you with hosts that are looking for guests and vice versa. But the way that I got the most SEO value is really by just searching in Google and seeing which podcast already ranked. That way I could get some of that SEO value from it or get more of it.
Okay. So I want to talk a bit about your book. Um, how long did it take you to write it? What was the writing process like? And how did you publish it?
It took me a while. It took me about 4 years of working on the book
Okay.
because I'm not the strongest writer. Anytime in school, when they had us write essays, I was like, I don't want to write an essay. I liked math. I liked that a little bit more. But so it was a struggle for me to finish the book. I've been working on it. And because I was all a guest on all these shows, I was like, maybe I should write a book about this. I've always thought about writing a book. People have told me for years I should write a book, but I was just like, I don't know. Everyone talks about SEO. I was like, what's going to be unique about it? SEO changes so much. But then the guest podcasting came to mind. I was like, maybe this is a little bit more unique and not as many people are writing about it or talking about it. And that gave me the idea to go for it. And it was just a lot of late nights writing and just trying to get everything out there and then just editing it, trying to make it organized was always tricky and trying to, yeah, there's so many layers to it, like the formatting, making sure it uploads. I did self-publishing, so making sure it looks good on Amazon KDP and making sure the book cover fits and make sure that there's no extra trim or no bleed and all these new things that I wasn't aware of. And it was definitely a process, but I was speaking at PodFest about the exact topic. I pitched PodFest last year to see if I could speak about guest podcasting and the SEO benefits. And they approved it. And then PodFest was coming up. I was like, I just got to finish this book. I just got to grind away. And I pretty much finished it during the winter time, during like Christmas to New Year's, because a lot of my clients kind of slowed down and weren't being as active, asking me questions, or I didn't have as many meetings I would normally have. And that gave me a lot of time just to grind away. And pretty much every day I just worked on it probably for 10 hours each day. My fiance, she had time off from work. And I was just like, I want to spend time with you, but I just got to finish this book. And there's a lot of late nights staying up till 4 a.m. sometimes, just
Oh, wow.
finishing that book. And literally finished it like 5 days before PodFest and got it on KDP. Sorry, got it approved on KDP and got the book live on KDP like 3 days before PodFest. So I bought a bunch of copies and mailed them out to the hotel room. I mailed some out to myself, but I was like, I don't know if it's going to come in time because
Oh, wow. That's smart.
it was
Yeah.
it was cutting it down to literally the wire, and I barely made it in time. But I'm so glad that I got it out there, got it approved, and just also people were telling me like I always thought like once you publish a book, you can never change it. It's like permanent,
That's
but
not true. That's not
that
true.
changed my whole perception once I realized that I could make updates and revisions. I was like, why am I waiting?
Correct.
I was just trying
Correct.
to make the perfect book and I was overthinking it, which I feel like a lot of people might get stuck in their head saying, like, I gotta make this perfect. It's gonna be representative of me and they want to put their best foot forward. But I realized like, no, you just gotta put something out there and then I could always update it and change it later on. That's what really got me to just finish it and just put something out there. And but it is what I wanted, and it's pretty much exactly how I wanted it. I just have making maybe like little minor changes here or there with the cover, just making sure there's like a little bit extra room on some of the spacing. But other than that, it came out much better than I thought. And sometimes you just get stuck in your head and you just gotta.
So yeah, so I bought the book and I can't wait to get started. The design is really nice and the whole book looks like really good. And who did you did the design? You did everything yourself?
Well, the design, I had a graphic designer. That one, I'm not
Ah,
a
okay.
designer,
Okay.
and it was
Okay.
So I had a couple different graphic designers over the years. Like when I first started writing the book, I had someone make a cover, and then I realized, wait, why am I even having a cover? Like I have a cover from 4 years ago, and that cover was completely different. Like the book had a different name and everything. So I realized I kind of went a little too early into the cover. And then after I got the cover made about 4 months ago. So I realized like once I really know what the book title is going to be and what the style, then I found a graphic designer and then had a bunch of revisions and making sure it fits in the right trim. And I had different sizes for my book. I was going to do like 6 inches by 9 inches. I realized maybe I do 5.5 by 8.5. So all these little things change how the cover looks and change the formatting and making sure it doesn't go over the limits. And then like the barcode, making sure that's not covering up stuff. Cause I realized like my name, my author bio was on the back, was being covered up by the barcode.
Mm,
So all these little tweaks had me doing multiple revisions. Luckily, I found a great designer that was very flexible and happy to work with me because they weren't really a book graphic designer. They were just a really good graphic designer. So they were learning with me about the formatting and the KVP templates and making sure.
excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. So, did you hire an editor?
Yep. I got an editor and had a book formatter because I didn't realize the formatting was so important because I wrote it
Yeah.
all in Google Docs and I was like, wait,
Yeah.
nope, this is not going to look proper. There's so many little things like drop caps and making sure like I have quotes
Yeah.
in there and I wanted to have like a little gray background in the back and like the bullet points and the spacing, all that stuff was things I never really thought about. And I was formatting it myself one night. I probably spent like 2 hours trying to format it. And I was like, I just formatted one page and it doesn't look how I want it. I was like, I just need to give it to somebody. Delegating is always helpful. Like, and same with the editing because there's only so much
Yeah.
I could do and reading it. I'm going to
Exactly.
miss things and we need to have other sets of eyes on it to help find the little details that you wouldn't be able to notice yourself.
And how is it doing now? How is it selling?
Now at Podfest, it actually became a bestseller in the Amazon
Oh, wow.
category for podcasting and webcasting. And so that was huge and was humbled and surprised to see it get that much traction that fast. Like literally after 3 days, it hit number one on Amazon and it's been being well received by a lot of people. Got shared with my friends and family. And then, but Podfest is where I wanted to really share it because those are podcasters and they know
Exactly.
podcasting versus my
Yeah.
friends and family. It's good, but it's not the same as somebody that really knows the nuances. So I've got a few people that read it at Podfest so far or read a few chapters and have given me a lot of good feedback saying that it's opened up their eyes to a whole new way of things. And so that makes me feel good and happy that I was able to get everything out of my head and onto paper so people could understand the SEO benefits of the guest
Oh,
podcasting.
wow. This is great. So, okay. So you did the book. Do you have any other books in mind? Do you have, or is this it? You're done for a while.
I think I might be done for a while. I got to do the audio portion now because a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, do you have an audio version? Because I love to listen to audiobooks as well. And I'm like, all right, now I got to do the audio because I think it's best to have the author speak and do it. So that's my next goal is get the audio probably in the next hopefully month or two. I'll get that done. I was asking like
Hmm.
AI, like how many hours is this going to be? I think my book is about 47,000 words, and they said it's probably going to be about 6 hours of audio. So that's where I got to commit to that and just get that done. But I just got to do chapter by chapter.
And you're gonna do it at home, or you're gonna go to a studio?
I'm not too sure. I have my mic and all that set up, but I'm might have to go professional, possibly. I think it would be
Okay.
good to do it at home, but it might be better to get that higher quality sound, and that's where
I
I've
know
thought.
a good audio coach who came on my podcast, and happy to connect you. He helps people train them to record their audiobook from home. So, like, he talks about the
Mm.
equipment and stuff like that. But that was like one of the most unique people I had on my podcast, which was you're also too, because I never had anyone talk about guest podcasting. So, besides having your website, okay, as an if I want to talk to author and I want to tell them how to increase their SEO, we know website is number one. What is one thing they say? I don't have time. They already built a website. What is one thing you would tell them to do to improve their SEO so that people can buy their books, maybe book them for speaking events, hire them as consultants, whatever.
And building that website is step one, and it's going to give
Okay.
you full control, because even on Amazon, like if someone's looking at your book on Amazon, there's plenty of other books. There's that shopping cart, and people could get lost and just forget about you really quickly. But having your website is where you control it, control the messaging, and make sure that people aren't going to get lost in there. And what I'm planning to do is maybe give away a free chapter on my website to get people's email addresses, because email is one of the most valuable things. If you collect emails, Amazon doesn't give you the emails, so you can't really see who bought your book. I put QR codes at the end of every chapter offering bonuses to try to get people off the book onto my website, because
That's
that is
pretty smart. That's pretty smart. Yeah, I've been seeing all the QR code stuff, especially at Podfest. Like you finish your presentation and it's like, do you want the slides? You use the QR. It's like, this is genius. Like you get the email addresses of the people who actually attend your event. And now I'm seeing it in books where people put the QR code in books to convert your physical readers into an actual email subscribers immediately. I love that. So you said the one thing is website, but what is the second thing? If for and let's focus on authors. Let's say, what do you think they should do? They build their website. What is the second? Guest podcasting? Like, what is the number two? You would say.
So once you have a website is only as good as you make it. And for SEO, you got to make or add more pages to your website. The more pages you have, the more keywords you could target, because each page on your website loses relevancy after about 3 to 5 words. So if you're trying to target multiple keywords, you want to make multiple pages. So that's one of the most important thing, is making lots of pages that target different keywords and then adding content to that page. Google loves text. They struggle with images and videos. They're getting much better with AI, but they want text on each page. So if I have a book, like my book is about podcasting, guest podcasting, I can make a page on my website for coaches about guest podcasting. And then I can make another page on my website about business owners for guest podcasting. And I can make another page for authors about guest podcasting, because an author doesn't necessarily want to see a business coach or vice versa. I mean, they might have some overlap, but making unique pages that speak to that audience is one of the most important things. Like I have over 400 pages on my website for SEO because I'm targeting different audiences. I'm in Los Angeles. I want to rank for SEO company in Los Angeles, but I also want to rank for SEO company in Austin or SEO company in Chicago. If I don't have a page about it, I'm not going to be able to rank. If you mention it once or twice on your website, that's okay, but it's not the same as having a dedicated page that's all about that one keyword. So I make all these different pages about it. I made a page for my book, and then I made a page for like my book bonuses. I made another page about a free chapter download. So my book could essentially have like 5 different pages where it's different audiences and different segments, but creating multiple pages is one of the most important things. That's why at Podfest, I was telling everyone, if they have a podcast, take each episode and make it a standalone page on your website. Don't just add it to one page, but make every episode a unique page. Because then if somebody's searching, like for example, somebody might search for SEO for authors. If you make a unique blog post on your website about that page will start ranking, because you have a page that's dedicated to SEO for authors versus just having a player that has all your episodes. It doesn't have that same relevancy to search engines.
I see. So what I do is I just link to my website, my Buzzsprout website, which is in my podcast name, and I like link it to my website instead of going and creating another page for every single episode. It's a lot of work. It's like over 100 episodes.
Yep, it takes time. But I always tell hosts, like sometimes they're sitting on all these episodes. I'm like, you have a gold mine of content, because people don't like blogging, but you have all these episodes that could just be a never-ending supply of blog posts that you just repost on your website, and it's going to get you more traffic.
You repurpose. You're saying I should take all the whatever blog or show notes or whatever that I have on Buzzsprout, my Buzzsprout's website, copy them and put them on my website?
No, once it's published, it becomes duplicate content, and that's the one thing the search engines don't like, is duplicate content.
Like. Exactly.
They want original content. That's the only thing that they don't want, is once it's been published somewhere, they don't want it to be published, or they don't mind, but whoever publishes it first gets all the credit. Everyone else is not going to be able to rank for it because Google's just saying you're copying it for somebody else, and they want to give credit to the person that published it first.
So before we conclude, what is one tool that you recommend to improve your SEO ranking? Like, I use Squarespace, for example, on my website, and I have no idea how it ranks. I don't know if I don't have what one tool I should use, or does it like use whatever Squarespace provides? So how do I know even if I'm using the right keywords, all of that?
Now, my favorite tool for everybody is what you just said, keywords. The Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool from Google that will show you how many people search for your keyword every single month. Because changing one letter could have a huge impact on how many people search for it, like singular to plural and synonyms. One of my clients, they're a personal injury law firm, and personal injury lawyer, singular, gets 20,000 searches in Los Angeles, but personal injury lawyers, plural, gets 200,000 searches. So just by
Ah, wow.
one letter. So I always tell people, like, especially like in your situation, like when you're posting, the titles of your podcast have such a big impact, where if you just change it from a singular to a plural or a synonym or some other word, you can significantly increase your traffic. And
So it's
Google,
called Google what? Google
the
Keyword.
Google Keyword Planner, and it's free to use, and it's from Google. There's lots of other tools that will help you with keyword research, but the Google Keyword Planner is from Google, and it's going to show you the data that Google has.
So basically, before posting an episode, put the title of the episode, or posting like a blog post or whatever, or even like the hero section of your website. You take it and plug it and see how it ranks, or what does it do?
No, you put in the word like SEO for authors, and then you can see, is SEO for authors a good keyword, or SEO for author singular, or is
Ah,
author
okay.
SEO better? Because some people might put author SEO. So it'll tell you
Mm.
which phrase, which ordering of the words is going to get you the most visibility.
Ah, interesting. So this been great, Brandon, and like of course I learned a lot, and I'm sure the audience also learned a lot. How can they reach you? How can they buy your book, go to your website, hire you for their services? So if you can share your contact list, or and please feel free to tell us how can they reach you.
So I actually created a special gift for everybody. If you
Oh
go
wow.
to my website at seooptimizers.com
Okay.
/gift. You can find that gift there along with my contact information and classes I've done over the years that show you step by step how to do a lot of the stuff that we talked about. Also, if they want to find my book, it's not on that gift page, but I'm going to be updating that soon. But if they just search on Amazon, guest podcasting, or the power of guest podcasting is the name of it, they'll find that book and they'll be able to get it. And I've dropped the price right now for people to try to help out, trying not to make it too expensive, because I want to let people be able to learn more about that side of things, the guest podcasting and the SEO.
This is great. I mean, this has been amazing. But I wish you the best of luck, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And for anyone who's listening or watching, thank you for joining us for another episode of Read and Write with Natasha. And until we meet again.